Hey guys, FMIS26 here, and welcome back to RGL. And I'll do a bit of explaining. Basically, we're at Australia again because due to original poor sign-ups, we decided to join with SRL to merge the leagues to have enough sign-ups to race a competitive tier, which we have now done. As a result, we had to redo the car selection, and hence I'm now in the Ferrari and not the Mercedes. I'm now teammates with Langman instead of GS Joe. I probably prefer the Ferrari over the Mercedes in general. I think the Ferrari engine cars are more enjoyable to drive. As you can see on our qualifying lap now, super softs, hoping not to bottle it like an AOR. First sector's been alright, nothing amazing though as we head towards the end of the sector. Apparently about a minute up, the game is really good. We've messed up the exit to that corner a bit, could have been a bit tighter on the entrance, on using more curb on the right hander as we now head towards turn 9, missing the apex there as well, but actually managing to get a pretty decent exit. So I don't know what we did on our previous lap, which was on the ultra softs, but we backed out of over the line as we now head towards the 11 and 12 chicane. As you can see, I've made a bit of a mistake there. I've gone down to 5th, which is really not necessary. You can definitely keep it in 6th, and that's probably hindered my speed through the corner, which is going to cost me all the way down at this straight towards turn number 13. Now we've actually managed to negotiate that quite nicely using the exit curve as we head into 14 down to 5th gear and rev the car out and use the exit curve once again. 2 corners to go now. Turn 15, navigated that pretty well, and now turn 16, crucial to try and feed in the power through the corner. We've touched the curve on the inside, which you probably don't want to do, as we now head towards the line to see what is it going to be. A 1 minute 20.1, not great if I'm honest. I was hoping to do a 20.0, but these things happen. Didn't quite find the pace I had before AOR when I was in the 19s, but as you can see, it's good enough for a front row. Joe takes pole with a 20.0, maybe could have beaten that if I'd nailed the lap. Myself in second, KJ with a 20.2 in third, Ginger Ninja on the ultras in fourth, Langman in 5th, Jack RT in 6th, Warden in 7th, and Bailey in 8th. So yeah, we're on what is the preferred starting tire, at least for me. I can't get the ultras to work around this track. Only one, well, we've got Ginger Ninja on the ultras and then a couple of people at the back end of the top 10, so we shouldn't have to worry about them too much, and hopefully I can stick with Joe off the start. It's going to be a big ask. He's probably one of the top 5 players on the game on Xbox, I'd say. Now I have the lights, it's 4 lights. Now it's 5. Can we get a good start here in Australia? It's lights out and away we go for round 1 of season 1 of RGL/SRL, and we've got a great start alongside Joe here. We're going to maybe take the lead into turn 1, up the inside, down to 3rd, swing the car in, and we've blocked him off on the exit, and that's us into P1 here. Dream start for our season, and KJ's got past Joe as well, which is crucial because I know Joe's pace is exceptional around this track, and maybe I can use KJ as a buffer if he is quick enough to hold Joe behind. But yes, that's an incredible start for us, up into P1 here, passing Joe off the start. Our launch was decent, but I think it was more Joe getting a bad launch, which made our start look so impressive. But yes, P1 for us here, and we're going to do our absolute best to get a gap whilst we can before Joe navigates his way past KJ, and then we'll just have to see what we can do for the rest of the race. I suspect Joe will be quite a bit quicker than me. Obviously, 5 tiers difference in AOR. He's in tier 1. I'm in tier 5. Obviously, that's not representative because I use the line, but it's still representative that he is a much quicker driver than me. This is one of my best tracks for Australia, so the gap may be closer than normal, but even if KJ does manage to keep him behind for a few laps, I very much doubt that I'll be able to hold on to this, but we just need to push as much as we can at the start. Obviously, you need to look after the tyres as well, because tyre temperatures is a big thing, although there's a bit of a glitch in this race where they weren't particularly working, even though carcass temperatures were on or something. I don't know, the game's not very good, but I didn't know that at this point, so it's important for me to push and keep my tyres in check at the moment, and there's been absolute carnage behind us. They've been battling out as we come across the line to end lap 1, and what will the gap to KJ be? It's 3 seconds after 1 lap, so it couldn't have gone much better if I'm honest with you, and that's us well clear at the front here at the end of lap 1, and we'll have to see if we can maintain that as we skip to the end of sector 2 here on lap 2, coming through the chicane, and we've cut that there, and that's an unnecessary warning already, and that is crucial. It is so easy to pick up warnings around this track, and an unnecessary warning like that where I could have easily avoided it just doesn't help us at all. And then lap 4 we picked up another one. That one was very questionable. I'm not even sure I left the track, but this is absolutely disastrous. We now have to drive 25 laps and 2 corners, which we've already navigated without getting a warning. But yeah, not much happened. Joe did eventually get past KJ and started to close on me, but not by a huge amount, and at this point I was looking pretty good. I've stretched the supers an extra lap than I maybe needed to due to the fact that I had a big gap, and that will give me better tyres until the end of the race on the softs, so I'll be able to push on them for longer, which will hopefully benefit me at the end in a battle with Joe when he inevitably catches me due to the quicker pace that he has. Decent pit stop from the Ferrari boys. Hopefully we come out in the lead. Bailey's followed me in, and Ginger Ninja as well, I think. But Ronan has stayed out. He started on the soft, started crashing and qualifying. So we're going to have to see as we get off the pit limiter on the exit of the pits, where is Joe and Langman, who's actually jumped KJ, my teammate, so good job from him as we come through turn 1 there, and we're still in the net lead ahead of Joe. He's closed the gap. The gap's now down to about 2 seconds due to the undercut, but still a pretty nice lead as we skip to the end of the lap now. The tyre should be now nicely up to temperature, and Joe sets the fastest lap of the race. The gap now 1.8 seconds to the Mercedes man, so it's not going to be easy to keep him behind. We have lost a bit of our advantage, but we're going to give it our best shot as we now skip on to lap number 14. We've caught the Sauber of most Ronan as we head through the chicane, nailing that there, keeping it on the track. We're not quite close enough, I don't think, to have a look into sector 3, and we need to hope that he's not too slow through this sector, because all the time we're sat behind him, we're losing time to Joe, which is not what we need. We need to make sure we can get past him, and then maybe he'll hold up Joe for a bit, although I doubt it. The soft tyres that he's on will be pretty worn at this stage as they heads towards the end of the stint. We've got a reasonable run off the last corner, but not too much. But we're going to use the ERS to close him with the DRS. He's probably not using a particularly high ERS mode because we've closed him from quite far back there. We're going to head up the inside of turn 1, putting it down to 3rd gear to get the turn in, and we have got the move done here at the start of lap number 15, and hopefully he can hold up Joe for as long as possible now as we have a look into turn 3. Will he remain ahead of the Mercedes man? Indeed he does, and this is good. So we need to try and pull a bit of a gap before Joe is able to pass the Sauber, and hopefully that will give us a few more laps of breathing space from the Mercedes. But as I said, it's not going to be easy. Time and time again, I'm driving as quickly as I can really, but there's not much you can do when you're against someone like Joe, who, as mentioned already, is extremely quick on this game. And well, I'm not bad. I'm not as bad as I was on the last game, but the pace just isn't in his league, and a lot of people who I thought I wouldn't be able to match in this league, I've put in a great display against here around Australia, making up for the poor one in AOR, I guess. But it's not over yet. We still got more than, well, just under half the race to go, as Ronan is still ahead of Joe now, but now into turn 13 Joe makes the move, and hopefully that gap is over a second and he doesn't have DRS. But having a look at the stream, it looked like it was 0.992 as we went through the DRS detection point, so he will have just nabbed DRS there, and that is crucial. He's now in my DRS window, and due to the way this game works with the ERS, etc., once someone was within your DRS, especially around this track, it's very difficult to get rid of them. As we now lock up coming into turn 9, and that's going to give us a poor run onto the back straight thing, in inverted commas, because it's a bit of a kink. As we now got Joe looking on the back of us, we're having to utilise the ERS here, and this is the problem we're going to face. To keep Joe behind, we have to use a lot of fuel and a lot of ERS, which we don't really have available to us as we've head through the chicane there. Is Joe going to be close enough into turn 13? We're holding the racing line. He's having a look up the inside. We're going to have to defend this, of course, round the outside. We're going to do our absolute best here. He's still alongside as we head in towards turn 14 now, and we've been very aggressive on the turn in there, not really giving him much room, and he decides to sensibly back out of that one. So I'm defending this with all my might, everything I can give to keep the lead for as long as possible, because I do know at this point Jeff has told me Joe has a penalty, and obviously at the moment, somehow, despite getting 2 warnings in the first 4 laps, I don't. So if I can keep him behind and limit the amount of time he has ahead of me to pull away, then maybe there's a chance. Even if I can't win it on track, maybe I can win it via penalties. As we now head down the second DRS straight at the start of lap number 16, we're going to park it in the middle of the road to not really give Joe anywhere to go, and we've done that very nicely actually. He's not able to chuck it up the inside, and that's us maintaining position 1 for another half a lap or so until Joe is able to get on the DRS once again. Hopefully we can wear out his tyres, wear out his ERS as well, as he attempts to pass me and is unsuccessful, but it's always going to be my ERS which is taking the bigger hit than his, as we now skip to the start of lap number 20 here. So I have managed to keep him behind for a few more laps, but the pressure is really taking its toll. As you can see, my fuel pretty low, less than a lap left already, and my ERS is not much better. But Joe's now having a look up the inside into turn 3. We've gone for the cutback, but we couldn't quite get the turn in there. We didn't spot it, move early enough, and there's a bit of desync there, so I can't really go for the move there. But we've got a good run through turn number 5. He's holding the inside into turn 6. We're going to try and go for the cutback through turn 6, I think. Yes. but he's got a better exit. Are we going to be able to have a look up the inside into turn number 9? We're in the slipstream. He's going defensive. This is probably not a good place to look around the outside. We're later on the brakes, but he's able to nicely shut the door on us there. Nothing wrong with that. And this is going to really limit our chances now. We're going to have to get a good run through the chicane despite the dirty air, which I've not experienced all race apart from the brief moment where I was behind Ronan in the Sauber. And Joe is much more confident through the chicane there. He's flown through that, and I don't think we're going to be able to do much about that. Even with the DRS, even with the overtaking ERS, we're not close enough to go from him into turn 13. But now the roles are switched, although I wasn't particularly confident at this point. I was already apologising in the party for letting him go because I need to hold up Joe for Langman on the track where the pad is not really too powerful and take points off him. So when the pad tracks do come around, as now the VSC has been deployed, but so when the pad tracks do come around, Langman doesn't have as much differential on points to make up to Joe. But virtual safety car ending, we're going to stick with Joe, but no, it's gone into the red there and we've been screwed over. Joe's managed to react a bit better to it going in the red for him, and he's got a bit of a gap there, which is exactly not what we wanted as we head down towards turn 9 once again for the 21st time in this race. So Joe now has, what, 8.5 laps to try and pull out a 3-second gap on me, assuming I don't get a penalty here, as we now skip to the next lap. We're still sticking with Joe. As you can see, looking in the bottom right, our ERS is now in a beautifully high state. So this is exactly how it works, is Joe's got a bit of oversteer on next to the chicane, but unfortunately we messed up the entry, so we're not close enough to go for a move into turn number 13. But this is very encouraging. We're sticking with him. We're able to save our ERS, whereas Joe's in the party saying that his ERS and fuel is on the ropes. So at this point I know I don't need to pass him unless I get a penalty. So all I have to do is sit behind him here, and maybe I can take the win. Obviously still a long way to go. I'm not sure. Joe probably does have the pace over me as he's going defensive already on the straight and then weaving back to the racing line, which he is entitled to do, but he's now not allowed to go defensive again. But it doesn't matter, we're not close enough anyway. But we're going to look for our opportunities. We're not going to be rash because we know we've already seen the desync when he overtook me into turn 4. We don't want to cause an incident as we now skip on to lap 23. Once again, Joe's been very aggressive through the chicane. He's run a bit wide. This is going to give us an opportunity into turn number 13. He's going defensive. Are we going to have a look around the outside? Yes, we are. We're going to go for the cutback on the apex, but we couldn't get the run out of the corner. Very well driven by Joe to defend from us there, but I don't mind this. As long as I can stick with him, it's fine. I mean, it's not obviously the best strategy to do, but in terms of actual racing, but in terms of ensuring that I don't end up in the wall, it is the most sensible strategy to do. Not the most interesting to watch, I take that, although on the stream it didn't really look like I wasn't trying, although as you can see closing the DRS on the straight there, just not wanting to risk a move into turn 1, and we're not close enough out of the exit there as we now skip on to lap 24 as we're actually having a look into the chicane. We're going to put our car on the racing line to compromise Joe's line and maybe go for the cutback out of the second part, which indeed we have. We've got a good run on the Mercedes man. Are we going to have a look around the outside turn 13? He's gone defensive again, so we're going to have to try and hook it up around the outside. We're going to try the move this time actually, and we're side by side pushed out onto the curb. We're still side by side, but I don't think we're going to be able to pull it around the outside of turn 14, and indeed we can't. We have to back out there as we now head into the penultimate corner, and there's a bit more desync there as we tap the back of Joe, so we'll just have to lift off the throttle a bit and let Joe maintain the position. But yeah, this is ever increasing me, that's not ever increasing the reason for me not to try and overtake him, because I know if we get too close, as I've messed up turning into turn 1 there, gone down to 3rd gear, and that means Joe is safe for another lap. As we now skip onto the back straight again on lap 25, we're going to try the same move, putting our car on the racing line into the chicane, once again compromising Joe's line, but it hasn't been as compromised this time. I wasn't quite as close, but we're still going to go for it into turn number 13. Once again, Joe goes defensive. It's deja vu pretty much. Can we head around the outside? No, Joe's late on the brakes and parks it nicely on the apex, so I can't really go for the cutback there. But once again, still sticking with him and absolutely limiting his chance to get away. At this point, Joe thinks I still have a penalty because I told him I had a penalty, and he believed me. So I don't know if Joe's realised I'm not trying to overtake him yet. It does look like I'm trying to overtake him in some places, but then on the pit straight I'm just not using the DRS. But giving to lap number 28 now, Joe now knows I've not got a penalty, but it's too late. He can't pull away because of how this game works. His ERS is still pretty low compared to mine. Mine is still chilling in the 90%, nearly 100. And at this point we're thinking, maybe we want to go for this, as you can see, but no, we're lifting off on the straight, not into the chicane at least, as Joe backing us up really. This is his only method. He said that he's going to try and back me up, which the streamer spotted as well, try and make me make a mistake, make me corner cut, or make me hit the back of him, which is questionable driving? Is it dangerous driving? Potentially. I didn't think it was that bad. I managed to react to all the times he was going slowly. As a result, Bailey's closed a lot on us, and the race time's going to be a pretty slow one as we head into the penultimate corner. I've hit him there. That time I actually hit him, so I have to let him go into the final corner as we get the run through turn number 16. But it's not really fair to overtake him on the pit straight, so we're going to close the DRS there, pull out of the slipstream. But we started the final lap now. Could this be our opportunity? Are we going to go for the move as we head through turn 1? Joe still saving RS. I think he's given up on this one. He knows that I'm not going to get a penalty, and we're going to be in the slipstream here. We've got the run on the outside down towards turn number 3. We're fully past him into the braking zone. He tries to outbrake us on the inside. We're going to go round the outside and hold the inside for turn number 4 here. And we've got the move done on the last lap to take the lead of round 1 of RGL SRL here. But Joe is still putting the pressure on. He needs to make a move here and get back ahead. Not that it really matters because I don't have a penalty, but to win it on track, for the pride of winning on track, will Joe go for it as we head down towards turn 9 for the 29th and final time here? Can we get the car stopped? We've missed apex ever so slightly, but due to all the ERS saving that we did and all the fuel saving we did behind Joe, we can run overtake and Rich for the remainder of the lap. So there's not going to be anything he can do really unless we make a mistake into the chicane, and we've actually cut it and got a penalty there. Bitter irony for Joe as we pass him and then get a penalty, but Joe said that I wouldn't have got the penalty if I sat behind him, which is probably a fair point, but he wasn't close enough into turn number 13, and we've only got 3 more corners to negotiate here before we pull off one of my most tactical, and in terms of the calibre of drivers I was racing against, probably one of my best wins, although due to the way I took the win just sitting behind him, it didn't feel that good, but it doesn't matter. It's still going to be a win here in unbelievable fashion in RGL SRL here, and what a way to start the season. The first race winner of RGL SRL is myself, which is very impressive here, and there we go, standing on the podium there with Joe and Bailey. Unbelievable, really. No words to describe how that was, just to race against someone like Joe. Obviously, he was in a difficult position with how this game works, but I had the pace. If he was quick enough compared to me, he would have been able to pull away, but my pace was pretty comparable to his. I thought he was probably a bit quicker, but he wasn't able to pull away, and as a result, I was able to take what I'd say was a pretty deserving and pretty amazing win for myself there, as you can see results on screen, with Bailey in 3rd, as I mentioned, Ginger Ninja in 4th, Ronin in 5th, and Langman 6th, Grumpilla in 7th, and Haynes the final finisher in 8th. But yeah, unbelievable really. Wins on back-to-back nights, as RLR Canada was the previous night, and yeah, what a way to start the season. Ferrari leading the constructors as well, and yeah, I can't quite believe it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you very soon for my next video, and goodbye.